So actually, you don't have to read this slide. The point of this slide is semiconductor is a very complex business. It consists of something like 40, 45 various different sub-segments inside it, and they're all growing at a different rate. But in order for Pakistan to focus something, we are focusing on some very narrow things. So I just want to talk about that and how we can create opportunity. You cannot look at 40 things. So what are the things? But the point really is that semiconductors are not just important today. I think in the next 5 years, they will become even more important for two reasons. One is 5G and one is AI. What will happen because of 5G and AI? What 5G does, it brings broadband down to a factory, down to every lathe machine, to everything that we can get connected to the cloud. And if you can do that and you can put some AI in the machines themselves and connect them to the cloud, you can make the overall system very efficient. I went to China. I lived there for 10 months. I just came back 3 months ago. You can see in real life what is happening. In China, they're connecting each and every element of each factory to the cloud. And if you can do that, you can make the entire economy efficient by 10, 12%. Why? Because you can connect each machine in the factory to all the machines. Then all the machines get connected to the logistics get connected to the next factory, and you can have a national global chain that you can optimize. You can see that in action in China today. All other nations will follow that. So what are we focusing on in Pakistan? We think in Pakistan, there are two specific things we are focusing on. Pakistani engineers. We have a lot of them. Pakistan Engineering Council gave me this number that today in Pakistan, we have 16,000 electrical engineers which are either unemployed or underemployed, which we can train them and use them in semiconductor. We produce around 5,000 new electrical engineers every year. So that's one thing. So can we use these engineers? And we can use electrical engineers, we can use computer science engineers, and then we can. The second thing we can do in Pakistan is what we call package. So when the chips are made, they're made on piece of silicon. That is a very complicated industry. We don't suggest we do that. But the part that once the chip comes out, we package it, and that packaging facility takes about $85 to $150 million. That's a small amount of money in our business. That kind of factories can be set up in Pakistan. So that is exactly what we are doing in Pakistan. So in Pakistan, with the help of the government and many ministries, Science of Technology, CPAC, STZA, IT, we wrote a plan called Pakistan National Semiconductor Plan. It was adopted, and now it is being followed, and there are many elements to this plan. This plan talks about what we need to do in the universities. It needs to talk about what we do in research institutes. It talks about how we collaborate with US. It talks about what we need to do in incentive plans in Pakistan, how to build up this ecosystem. So the main thing I want to talk about today is that one goal in the Pakistan National Semiconductor Plan is to start 40 design centers in Pakistan. Where are these design centers going to come from? These design centers are going to be the companies in US which are going to go start their design centers, or these are going to be startups which will have design centers in Pakistan. We have semiconductor startups in Pakistan already. So what are we going to help them? How are we going to help them? So first of all, we are starting 4 design training centers we call Advanced Training Institutes in Karachi, Lahore, Islamabad, and Peshawar. They'll start on August 15th. And the purpose of those training institutes is to actually train engineers so that when the engineers come out of the training institute, they can start working on day 1. Number 2, these are being funded by the government. Second, we will, in our business, the most expensive thing are the tools, the design tools. We call them EDA design tools. For a design center of about 100 people, it takes about $1.5 million of tools just to run the design center. So we are working with the government so that if you start your design center in Pakistan, the tools will be provided to you for free for the next 3 years. So that is a major advantage. Third, the average cost of engineer in Pakistan is $20,000 per year, which is about 1/4 of or 1/3 of in India and 1/7 of US. Let me say that one more time. The average cost of engineer in Pakistan right now is $20,000 a year. I am operating a design center for one of my companies. I have 65 people. It doesn't even cost $1 million to run it. In Bay Area, I can hire only 4 people for $1 million. This is the benefit. Third, we have an agreement with STZA, which is a special trade zone authority. And in those zones, if you take the building, either we'll provide you with low rent or no rent at all. And so at least in 2 STZAs, we have buildings like that. And finally, in STZA, if you bring in any machines, equipment, or you design something or you build something for, so there would be no customs and duties coming in, and there would be no customs and duties going out. So this incentive package has been put together to incentivize and to set up these things in Pakistan. So these are the 4 we are being set up, and they are being set up in a way that the guys that come out, women and men that come out of them, they will be trained to do a specific job. So what we are doing is that we are signing agreements with companies in Bay Area. They tell us what job they need to do. We train them for that job. In addition to the soft skills, it takes about 10 months to train them. But once they're trained, they get that job. So the idea is when you enter the training institute, you are given actually a job offer, subject to you completing the training. So it's not a training institute where you go and you get a degree or something. There's no degree you get. You get a job. And you get the job at the beginning of the training. Of course, it is required that you complete the training successfully, but in that sense, it is a very different training institute. And it also, of course, it brings up the people experience things like, but it gives you a complete experience so that people who hire these people don't feel that, I've got junior people in Pakistan, I'm struggling. So we are trying to address that issue. So our first location where we started is in Lahore. So in Lahore, in phase 9 defense, there's building what is called Lahore Technopolis. This is the master plan. So we have 3 buildings in this master plan. When it is all built up, this is just feel-good picture so that you can see. When it is all built up in 5, 7, 10 years, I don't know, 3 buildings among them will be our buildings. But those buildings will host a package and test facility and then a training center. And then there is an incubation center where semiconductor companies that move in Lahore, they can be in that building. But basically, this land that we are getting, and they are literally either at no cost or at a very, very low cost. And we will pass that on to the companies. So anybody who knows, anybody who wants to start a semiconductor company in Pakistan or knows a company in the Bay Area would like to start a semiconductor in Pakistan, please have them contact us. And we love to help them in any which way we can. Thank you so much.